Welcome to our deep dive into the world of Machado de Assis.
Oh, a fascinating author.
You've given us quite the collection to work with here.
Yeah.
Novels and short stories,
Right.
poems, even a biography.
Yeah, it's quite amazing.
So I'm really excited to dig in and uncover what makes him such a giant of Brazilian literature.
I think what makes Machado de Assis so fascinating is that he's not afraid to play with narrative structure.
Oh, interesting.
You know, he really digs into human nature and societal pressures, but he also really dissects the whole act of storytelling itself.
Well, you mentioned playing with narrative structure,
Right.
and it makes me think of unreliable narrators, which I hear is something he's known for,
Oh, absolutely.
especially in the novels.
A perfect example is Dom Casmurro.
Sure.
The whole story revolves around this question of whether or not Capito is faithful to Bentinho.
Oh.
But the catch is, we're only getting Bentinho's perspective.
Right.
And he's completely consumed by jealousy.
Wow.
So Machado de Assis is constantly making us question, is Bentinho's suspicion valid?
Right?
Or is it all just, twisted by his own perception?
So he's making us work as readers from the very start.
Absolutely.
We can't just passively take in the story.
Right.
We have to analyze and question everything.
He elevates storytelling beyond just plot.
Yes.
It makes us examine truth, perception, memory.
Okay, so that's Dom Casmurro.
Yeah.
But I'd love to start with some of his earlier work,
Sure.
like A Mão e a Luva.
Yes. The hand in the glove.
I was really drawn to Guiomar,
Yeah.
this young orphan navigating societal expectations in 19th century Brazil.
It's so interesting how he takes a story about a woman's path to marriage and uses it to really dissect societal pressure, especially on women.
Oh, yeah.
Guiomar is surrounded by these strong personalities like the Baroness and Mrs. Oswald,
Right.
all trying to shape her according to their own ideals.
It really made me think about how those forces, societal forces, can almost feel like an invisible glove,
Yeah.
shaping our choices, our destinies,
Oh, for sure. She's strapped.
without us even realizing it.
And the way he creates that feeling through his language is incredible.
I mean, that scene where Guiomar receives 3 gloves, each representing a different path,
Right.
it's just so brilliant.
Such powerful symbolism.
These everyday objects suddenly representing these huge decisions.
Right, he's telling us to look closer. These everyday things have deeper meanings.
Exactly.
There's social commentary woven into everything.
And speaking of intricate narratives, let's talk about Helena.
Oh, yes, a true mystery.
It throws us right into this mystery.
Right into it.
This mysterious woman arrives, shrouded in secrecy.
Nobody knows who she is.
Her connection to the family is a complete unknown.
A total enigma.
And then, of course, there's a love triangle.
Of course, to make things even more interesting.
It adds this whole other layer of complexity.
It's a perfect example of how Machado de Assis can create this captivating mystery. stories are more grounded in the realities of life in Brazil.
Oh, definitely. Compared to, say, the grand romantic sweep of Helena.
In Cantos Fluminenses, we see Machado de Assis turning his attention to ordinary people.
Interesting.
Everyday life in Rio.
Okay.
It's a glimpse into the social dynamics,
Oh, wow.
the aspirations, the hypocrisies of Brazilian society at that time.
Is there a story that comes to mind that really captures that essence?
There's one called The Fortune Teller.
Okay.
It's about this young man who decides to visit a fortune teller, just on a whim.
Okay.
And what starts as just a fun diversion
Yeah.
turns into this really profound reflection on fate,
Wow.
free will, the choices we make.
It's amazing how he can take something so simple
Right.
and use it to explore these deeper questions.
He weaves those big ideas
Yeah.
into seemingly ordinary situations.
Right.
It's part of what makes him so brilliant.
Okay, so we had these glimpses into everyday life
Yes.
in Cantos Fluminenses. But didn't Machado de Assis also write more explicitly political works?
He did. Aquarela do Estatismo.
The dispute over statism.
Yes.
Now, I've heard that he approaches this with a satirical edge.
Oh, for sure.
It's not just dry political theory.
Yeah. Not at all.
He uses wit and irony,
Oh,
right,
absolutely.
to sort of expose the hypocrisy
Exactly.
of the political landscape.
He takes aim at both sides.
Oh, interesting.
Those who want a strong centralized state
Right.
and those who advocate for, complete individual freedom.
So he's not necessarily coming down on one side or the other.
No, I wouldn't say that.
Is he more interested in just making people think
I think you're spot on.
than providing answers?
It's less about advocating a specific position
Okay.
and more about encouraging critical thinking.
It's almost like he's an unreliable commentator
Interesting.
in a way.
Yeah.
He's not giving us easy answers.
Right.
He's not aligning himself with any particular dogma.
He wants us to do the work.
He really does.
He's a master at challenging his readers,
Yes.
intellectually and emotionally.
It's interesting. We talked about unreliable narrators.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if maybe that's just a reflection of his worldview.
You mean?
Maybe he's suggesting that all our perspectives
Okay.
are inherently limited,
Interesting thought.
shaped by our own experiences, our own biases.
I think that's a really insightful point.
Maybe.
It gets to the heart of what makes him so compelling.
Yeah.
He's not just telling stories, he's exploring how we see the world,
Right.
reminding us that truth is often elusive and multifaceted.
Okay, I'm ready to dive deeper.
Good.
But before we do,
Yes.
Memorial de Heirs.
Counselor Ayres Memorial.
Yes, told through his diary entries.
It offers another really interesting perspective on Brazilian society.
Okay.
Ayres is retired diplomat,
Right.
very keen observer,
Hmm?
commenting on all sorts of things.
Like what?
New technologies, family dynamics, everything.
It's interesting you mentioned that because I remember reading that he lost his wife,
Yes, shortly before.
and there's a deep sense of melancholy,
Absolute.
reflection on time.
Woven into the narrative.
So he's grappling with personal loss,
Yeah,
but also these broader changes happening in society around him.
exactly.
It gives the novel such a poignant feel,
It does.
very different from something like Aquarela do Estatismo.
Right, a different tone.
It's amazing how he can move between those different styles.
His versatility is incredible.
It speaks to his understanding of human emotion.
And don't forget the way he uses the diary format.
Oh,
These fragmented entries, like how memory works. Glimpses, impressions.
Not a linear narrative.
He's engaging the reader in a whole new way.
We're piecing together the story,
Right.
reflecting on our own experiences with time and memory. We've talked about the novels.
We have.
We've delved into his social and political commentary,
Yes.
but we haven't yet touched on his poetry.
That's right.
I'm curious, does his poetry offer yet another dimension to his writing?
It most certainly does. It really does. His poetry collection, Americanas, is amazing.
Americana.
It's full of insights into Brazilian identity, and the human condition.
I'm intrigued by that title, Americanas.
Yeah,
Is it a reflection of his own experiences in Brazil, or is there a broader meaning there?
I think it's both. On one hand, it's definitely about Brazil searching for that national identity,
Right.
but it also speaks to the Americas as a concept, like this whole idea of the new world, all its complexities.
So he's not just writing about Brazil, he's grappling with these universal themes of identity, belonging, searching for meaning.
Exactly, and his poetry often uses these powerful images and symbols to get those ideas across.
Like what?
Well, in one poem, he describes the Amazon rainforest as this green labyrinth.
Oh, wow.
It's beautiful, but also impenetrable.
Yeah.
Like nature itself is a reflection of us, full of wonder, danger, beauty, darkness.
It's like he's saying we're all just trying to find our way through this labyrinth.
And he often uses these nature metaphors to talk about human experience. Like in another poem, he compares love to a butterfly's wings, so fragile and beautiful.
I'm seeing now how his poetry really complements his prose.
Yes.
Same themes of love, loss, relationships, but in this concentrated form.
Like these little distilled drops of his imagination.
Exactly, and in Americanas, you also see his incredible skill with language.
Oh, he's a master.
Different poetic structures, sonnets, free verse, just showcasing his range.
Absolutely.
I mean, with Machado de Assis, it feels like there's always something new to discover,
Oh, for sure.
more layers to peel back.
Always.
Even after all this, the novels, the stories, the political stuff, his poetry reveals a whole other side of him.
It does. And, it really brings us to what's most remarkable about Machado de Assis, his lasting influence.
Yeah, his influence on Brazilian and world literature.
He's a foundational figure, still inspiring writers and readers today.
His bio mentions all these awards and recognitions.
Yeah, both during his lifetime and after.
What do you think accounts for that impact?
It's a lot of things. His intricate narratives, those deep psychological themes,
Yeah,
his mastery of irony and satire.
it's all there.
But most of all, it's that he's not afraid to challenge conventions,
To push the boundaries of storytelling.
to make the reader work.
He demands that we engage.
Yes.
Think critically, analyze, draw our own conclusions.
He's not interested in passive entertainment. It's an intellectual and emotional journey.
And I think that's why he's still so relevant today.
Hmm.
In a world that's constantly bombarding us with information and easy answers,
Right.
he reminds us to slow down, to think critically, to really search for deeper meaning.
It's been a pleasure exploring Machado de Assis with you today.
Likewise, I have to say this has been an incredible deep dive.
Yes,
Have
Shader.
novels, short stories, his political side, even his poetry.
And for our listeners out there, I hope this has sparked a curiosity to read Machado de Assis for yourselves.
Absolutely. And as you do, think about what aspects of his writing resonate with you and how it might shape your own understanding of the world.
It's a rich tapestry of insights and challenges.
It really is.
Rewards for those willing to take the journey.
It's a journey worth taking. And with that thought, we leave you rub.